So we're recording.
Okie dokie. Hi.
Okay. Hello, people. This is Fanny and Zai interviews, and today we have Chantel. Hello, Chantel.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good too. So, Chantel, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to say your family name. Trainer Matthews,
Nice.
something
Yep.
like
That's perfect.
that. It's kind of a French, I guess, or sounds like.
It's no, it's not French. It's my husband's it's like his mom and his dad's last names combined, and it's like European and a mix of things.
Okay, that's why it's like a trainer doesn't sound very French, but Mathieu, yeah, it sounds kind of a French, but it's the same thing. My husband as well, he has like Le Beaufort, that he is the first of the family name because it's his mom's name and with his father is like all mixed European the same way.
Yeah, it's like a mix of a bunch of
It's
things. So
the Europeans first generation in Canada.
uh
At least for my husband, he's like Irish
no.
and French together. So it's like
No.
all mixed. It's like Brazilians. Like what Brazilians look like. It's like there's not a really look like, because you can look from any other origin of people that came to Brazil, immigrate to Brazil, and then the first generation is so mixed and so multicultural. And I think you all about that too. So let me present you properly. Chantel from Fretchen Studios. She is a local artist here in Abbey, Abbotsford, and illustration, painting, photography, graphic design, mixed media, and indigenous arts. Wow, so much.
Yeah.
So many events being postponed. The last one,
Yeah.
Woman in Art in Carrington in March 7th. I saw. Um, we were booking to meet in person in
Yeah.
there, and we missed the chance. And now we're
I
gonna have to
know.
wait for the isolation be done. And so let's talk a little bit about your your career. How did you where did you start? Let's talk about who are you? Where did you come from? You're local, but how did you start in the arts? How did it start? What is your story?
Well, that's hard because so I haven't really been completely focused in the arts until I mean, I went to school. I started up in 2017 in the fall semester. And like my whole life, I always knew I wanted to go to school for art, but it's one of those things where you're like told, oh, you're not going to make any money. That's kind of like something you do for fun, things like that. So we actually put my husband through schooling first. Um, and he is an electrical engineer. And we kind of wanted to have something more reliable income wise before I decided to dive right into the arts. But then once I finally did in 2017, from then it just slowly became more and more and more and more part of my life. And I finished school in December of this past year, 2019. And yeah, like ever since I would say summer 2018, ever since then I've just been slowly um, finding more opportunities and finding ways to like turn it into an income. And yeah, it's not been like a ton of time, but I've always loved the arts and I've always done it. It's crazy how it just all of a sudden became something I was doing for like a career.
That is amazing. And
Yeah.
I love to hear that because I totally see like myself in this example of like I love art, but I always heard that if I do arts, I would not make money. That is actually
Yeah.
what pushed me to do medical school and not
Yeah.
arts because it was my dream of like I had this moment during young ages when I was like in between, like be a vet because I always loved animals. So I wanted to be a veterinarian before. And then I passed through these moments where I was like, oh, I was very artistic and liked I loved drawing. And then later I worked with tattoos and
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
later, yeah, when I was 15, 16. And then I had this idea at some point. I was like, there is something growing. It's called graphic design, and maybe I do something like that, arts. And
Yeah.
even like public schools had, and I was like considering, and I think it was my mom. She's like, that you're gonna do that, you're gonna be kind of happy, but there's no happiness if you don't have money. And I was like, okay, I have to look for something else. But
Yeah.
I love arts, and yeah, I'm all. We're gonna have a new new guest
Do
for
we
the
have a
sometimes.
visitor?
This is what happens when in Corona times.
Yeah.
Shiva, okay, you can show up a little bit. Say hello.
Hi.
Remember, mommy said
Hello.
to talk. It's not working. Oh, let me see. What about we open here and then you can take the cup? Oh, I see. There was something there. Okay, now you go back. Okay.
Bye.
See you. So yeah, I'm sorry. Where were we? So yeah,
Talking about like graphic design and stuff.
yeah, and then I stopped on the drawing, and then stopped on the going further on arts as I used
Yeah.
to like. And actually, I passed my entire university. During the university, I stopped drawing completely. I stopped the tattoo because I thought, imagine a doctor that is full of tattoos or that does perform tattoo on other people will lose completely credits, because in Brazil there was still a big um, prejudice against tattoo people
Oh
with tattoos.
wow.
Even like a
Yeah.
doctor, like the piercing, for example, on my nose was always an issue. Some patients or other would just like, oh, you have a piercing on your nose, you're a doctor. And it's like, yes, I don't even touch my piercing during the time that I'm seeing people. I don't, like it's
Yeah.
not something that I used to try to use it like a really small jewelry on it. And
Yeah. And try to hide it. I used
but
to. I used to be a dietary aide at a hospital, and they made us completely take them out. So I would have my nose piercings would just like grow over. I wouldn't be able to get them back in. Yeah,
yeah.
I understand that.
Yes, some hospitals where I worked in Sao Paulo and like big cities, capitals, they would do that too. Like even like earrings, like you're not allowed to use anything,
Yeah,
rings or earrings or. So yeah, I understand for health purposes, but definitely it is a little bit more sometimes. I
yeah, for
actually
sure.
dropped some of a lot of my piercings and stopped a lot of like on the actually making myself tattoos because of that, because I knew it was not
That's so
okay
sad.
for like I wanted to have like an arm tattoo, but it was like no, I will never be able to use short sleeves during my work time, and I don't want to go through that. So it's maybe the shoulder, maybe no, but yeah, it's not simple like that in Brazil. So I was like pushed away from the arts, and of course now, because I'm a physician immigrating to Canada and going through the matching process, I kind of came back to arts. Like I've been drawing a few things and
Yeah,
trying to like maybe with this free time and at home time. I have been in isolation for like 4 almost 5 years, and working on my YouTube channel, doing interviews, talking to people and watching things that I like, and trying to talk to people that I am fan of. So therefore, you're here. And yeah, and now even thinking like maybe I can learn how to pass all these arts to the computer level, and
yeah,
that's a little
totally.
bit you can talk about your experience. How did you learn all this? Was that all during the time you were in the university on the
No,
UFP?
actually, so I mean, back when I was in high school, I I started doing like illustrations on the computer with like my little tablet, and I mean, I actually started. I remember I used to draw with like with the mouse, and I would sit there on like MS Paint and I would outline it and it would be super bad and pixelated. But I loved drawing on the computer. So one day I got gifted a tablet so I could use the pen. This is kind of what, like, I could use a pen. Not this one, obviously. This is much newer. The one that I have now is Lenovo Yoga, so I can draw like right on my screen. So it's this whole thing. It tilts so
Oh,
that I can pull my screen down and draw on it, which is really cool. But I've slowly upgraded over the years from, like, my mouse all the way up to the 2019 Lenovo Yoga computer, which is absolutely amazing for this. But I actually did, I'm pretty much self taught in all of my computer stuff. So when I went back to university, that was kind of to go back into painting and doing traditional stuff because I kind of left that behind after high school because it's a lot of work to pull out all your paints and all your canvases and to make a mess. And so when you go to school and you actually have to do it for homework all the time, you always have it ready and available. So I kind of have found a way to like do both and sometimes even turn a painting into like a t-shirt design or yeah, it's been pretty neat. But yeah, I definitely am self-taught with my graphic design.
that's really nice because I really want to learn how to do it. And I have heard of people saying, like, oh, do schooling. That is like something online you can learn by yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
And mainly when they say, like, oh, if you already know how to draw, like basically on the paper, it makes much easier. So you don't need to go through
Yeah.
like learning how to draw. That would be another level of, of this schooling.
Yeah.
Uh, and other levels. And I don't know if you use it, but it is another thing that is very trending nowadays. It's people that do arts and mainly graphic arts have Twitch, and then they do it sometimes
Yes.
live on Twitch, and that is very helpful to other artists to
Yeah.
improve their techniques
I've
and
done
learn
it.
more.
Yeah, I've streamed a couple of times. It's actually something that I've been thinking about, seeing as we're all quarantined, starting back up again. Because I do have a Twitch channel, and I think it would be fun to chat and doodle. And even I would love to set up like a small camera to record like my larger paintings. It's just like, it seems like so much work to try and actually make everything function properly. But then once you do it, you can just stream all the time. So that's something I've been thinking about starting back up again for sure. And even those Skillshare videos and YouTube videos, they show you um, a lot of things. I think it's, a lot of it is just learning how to use the programs,
Yeah,
right?
that is really useful for
Yeah.
people that are beginners like me and people that
Yeah,
are
exactly.
watching, regarding learning experience. Like,
Hmm.
I think it is pretty good. Um, I never used any Skillshare, but on the Twitch, I personally follow a few artists. I have on Geist, and I have my arts that she actually is from Latvia, and we had an interview with her like maybe last week or so. We was
Oh
booked,
yeah.
and she had a trip to Netherlands. And because of the isolation and the lockdowns, she is now in Netherlands. Like, she's locked down in Netherlands, and she can't go back to
Oh
her city,
my
to her
word.
in Latvia. So we don't know when you're going to be able to talk,
That's
unhappily. But at least she is
crazy.
fine there,
Yeah.
and apparently got work and is being taken care, no problem. So hope everything go to normal and we can book
Yeah.
our conversation. Because this month I kept like a few days to do the artists. It's
Yeah.
the first month I'm interviewing artists that I love. I follow all these people on you on Instagram, and her on Twitch, and Zubi as well on Twitter. And he's a musician, you a artist. She does more design, and she's doing like more comics, and she's releasing her first comic. But
Oh,
she
cool.
does the Twitch painting and making the arts on Twitch, so what is pretty entertaining, and we can just
Yeah, for
overtalk on
sure.
the on the chat. So I totally suggest you to use the Twitch. I'll definitely follow you and spread your message around.
Yeah, I totally should. I mean, I do have, I tried to get into it, maybe last year or the year before, and it's so much fun when people actually come and they like watch you doodle and they suggest things that they doodle. Some people are even like, "I'll buy a sketch from you. Can you draw this for me?" And so it's a really neat way to connect with people and to get you practicing. Because sometimes when you're sitting at home, you're like, "I'm just gonna go watch TV." So it keeps you being productive.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. And it is a good opportunity as well, like at this moment where people are in isolation to connect to other people. And even like if,
Hmm.
as people producing art, it's still a good way to sell your art, in some way. Like some people will order, things like a canvas or whatever art. I have asked some artists that I don't know personally on the Fiverr to make my owl my owlet
Cute.
that I
Yeah.
actually draw by on a paper here, and I have
Yeah.
my sketch, and then I
Yeah.
took a picture of it and sent to her, and she made this. It's pretty close of what I had
Oh,
drawn,
that's so
and
cool.
yeah, all my I saw you did the something for the school that is
Yeah.
an owl, and I was like, oh, so my
I
channel.
don't I didn't do it. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. That's right. Yes, I did do it for student association. I do quite
That's
a few logo designs within the university. I'm working on one right now, so that's really exciting.
So
Gives
for
me
people
something
that
to do.
I actually have a bunch of people watching that will watch us that have their like just starting with YouTube channels or Twitch channels, and that is actually another opportunity. You can they can contact you for a logo, for
Totally.
animation or anything. You all about these arts, and I personally love your paints, and I'm getting my own prints of
Yes.
ferrets
Thank
and
you.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Uh, it For people that don't know, we are friends like through message for a while since November when I only met personally your husband on the TEDx. He
Yes.
gave me
Yep.
your card, and then I contacted you later because I saw your Instagram and I fell in love for your arts. So everybody go check the Instagram; it's really pretty
Thank
and
you.
talk about all the production process, your inspiration. Uh, so you kind of like you said, you have like this natural innate talent, but a lot is on the working on this training, like on the computer. You still have to get a lot of skills. How does it work?
Um, well, I would say like number one was just like practice, 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 practice. It was, I mean, I've been drawing like my whole life. I took every single art class in high school that I could. And I kind of, even after leaving, being done high school, I did it a little bit less. I did a lot of, like I said, I did a lot of it on the computer and dr- I drew every single night for a very long time. And um, I would say that yeah, a lot of it is just a lot of practice. I mean, obviously, like I said, with the learning the programs, that's something that, like, I mean, I'll even sit down with students at the university because you will have an assignment that, a student might not be familiar with Photoshop or, what have you. So I'll sit down and, I'll show them some of the simple things because when you've worked with Photoshop for, I mean, I probably used it for over 10 years, you you kind of you learn everything at your own pace. But when you're in a class environment and you're trying to like keep up with the class, sometimes it can be harder for some people. But those type of classes are really important, especially for people wanting to get into, graphic design. I would think that taking a class in, learning the programs, you would probably get through it a lot, like get better at the programs a lot quicker than, just getting the program yourself as a teenager and teaching yourself how to do it. But that's how I did it. And I mean, even when I get like, I recently I do vector designs now. So I draw a lot in Photoshop, but then when I want to create a vector design, um, which is like a scalable design, so it's something that can be resized to any size and it isn't going to look pixelated, basically. I had to go and buy this new program called Corel Draw, the company that I was working with at the time. They were like, "Oh, this is the program you use," and so I bought the program and I sat there and I taught myself how to use it as best as I could to get the design out to them as quickly as possible. And I'm still learning it. And when I have a question about it, I you just type it into Google and like you kind of figure it out. But I mean, it would be really nice for some of these things to just have a quick crash course because yeah, picking up a new program can be kind of difficult.
Mhm.
But I would say when you're taking like art school, I think that having a professor there to to tell you areas that you can improve, to encourage you, to give you projects that you wouldn't necessarily think of doing. They'll give you an assignment and you might be like, I don't want to do that assignment. But then you realize that when you're done it, you've made something that you learned a bunch from. Like, I have this one professor who made us do a ton of color charts to practice like mixing different colors of paints, and it was the most tedious tasks. But I have all of these beautiful color charts, and it teaches you how a little bit of white can go a long way when you're mixing it into a purple color, or like it shows you what type of yellow you should mix with what type of red to create a specific type of orange, so yeah, I definitely think you
It is
learn a
pretty
lot.
impressive. The color thing, this thing on the charts of colors is pretty impressive. The other day, we bought my daughter a one of those Crayola super big kits, and then they come, and I was like, I looked from far, I was like, this is bad because they sent us like a three of the same. I see three oranges here. And then when I went to look close, they were actually named different colors of orange. And if you
Yeah,
actually then you see there is a difference in between the three oranges. And I
yeah,
was like, okay,
exactly.
she's not gonna notice, so I'll put it away, or gonna be like too many. But then I was very fascinated because they were like different colors of blue and different colors of like, and I was like, oh, I did not know they would put this on the crayons for kids. I think
Yeah,
they cannot even
it's
tell,
cool.
but it is pretty cool. I think for bigger kids would make difference. She's only 3, so for her, she's still just coloring everything the same color, still
I love that.
trying maybe 2 now. But yeah, and I see on your ads, like, of course, one of the things is like this style, like, and then we can talk about this later. But uh, what are your inspirations? And I think what you said is like when your professor also give you a task, sometimes we'll get out of your box what you always do because everybody has
Yes.
like a style and the inspirations. And in your case, I see the pets, and you're not gonna dive much on the ferrets, but and the native arts, like indigenous arts.
Yeah.
Where those inspirations come from? Like, is that your ascendancies?
Okay, so let's go back to inspirations in general. And yeah, I am going to address, obviously I make sure I say it everywhere that my ferrets who have now, really sadly all passed away, they're my children and they are my biggest inspiration. They've like they've developed who I am as a person, as an artist, and I obviously focus a lot of my work around them and like animals that are related to the ferrets. So you'll see otters, you'll see obviously all I've I've drawn all of my ferrets. You'll see paintings like this. Can you see it? Oh yeah, you can. Um,
Beautiful.
so yeah, and I plan on doing a whole lot more. It's actually my goal to kind of make enough paintings to do a solo show in a gallery with a bunch of animals related to the ferret. So one day, fingers crossed, that's something that I'm going to slowly be working on. When it comes to my indigenous artwork, I would say it all began in 2018 in the summer. I actually took a class that was called Community Arts. And so in that class, you work as a big team to make a mural. And the class initially gets divided into groups, and the groups come up with ideas for the mural. And our group had a couple ideas that involved Indigenous artwork. And I was the only person in the class that had Indigenous blood. So it kind of became something that I was like, oh, I could work on that part of it. You know, I could learn. It was so new to me, but that just always wanted to explore that part of my heritage that I never really had, and I'm still exploring it. So I have basically my heritage is my mother has a Niska background, and my biological father has a Métis background. So they're not like complete, like they're mixed as well, but then I have both as
Yeah.
well. So um yeah, from painting that mural, the school actually brought in an artist. His name is Fred Jackson, and he's an amazing artist. He sadly doesn't really use a lot of social media for his artwork, but he really should. Fred, if you're watching, you really should. He came on to kind of be a mentor, but then he just he looked at my designs and he's like, perfect, you do it. He didn't touch them, he didn't change them, he just let me do my designs. And from then it's on a wall at the university here in Abbotsford. And now I had that. And then from there, Fred told me that I should apply at this company, this business called Nations Creations. And then they wanted my designs and they were putting it on shirts. This is one of them. The pink.
Yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about because it's another thing that is pretty awesome. It's I've learned from it on the Instagram that
Yeah.
that your design was the chosen one for the 2019 anti-bullying pink shirt day.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
And yeah,
And
and
that
you
was
that
so
shirt,
cool.
it was totally sold out. It sold like over 2,500 shirts.
Yes, it sold almost 3,000 of them. Yeah. They
And
released a few
remember,
more
you
this year.
remember everybody. I don't know. Are you guys gonna make more of it?
Okay, so the sad part is Nations Creations actually has closed their doors.
Oh,
This was all before the coronavirus thing, was actually in January, and we're not really sure what's going to happen with Nations Creations as a whole right now. But basically, Nations Creations doesn't exist at the moment.
okay.
So, but they did print some more for this year's Pink Shirt Day. So they did sell them for a little while this year. And I'm not
I saw
like, I
that.
would
It's
love to print
finishing
more
just
myself.
February 27th, I think. Was
Yeah,
that?
it was like the 26th or 27th this year. And
Yeah.
they, yeah,
And
sadly, we don't really know what's happening.
they were giving part of the money for donations. No, it was like part
Yeah,
of the money was given to youth in risk
yeah,
in the
at
community.
risk youth. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and it was a large amount. It was $5 from every shirt.
yeah, yeah, I
So,
saw that on
like, we
Instagram too.
raised so much money. I wish I had the numbers here, but they raised so much money, and that was their biggest. As far as I'm aware, it was their biggest product sale that they designed, that they had sold ever, which was really cool. And that was my very first design with them too. So it was kind of like,
Mm.
hi, I'm Chantel. And then it just kind of blew up, which was really neat. But
Yeah, it was pretty.
I was, yeah, I was with them for, about the year. And sadly, yeah, at the beginning of this year, they closed their doors. So,
Do you have your own store online or something like this where you sell your own merch?
yeah, on my website, I have a little shop on fretchanstudios.ca. I'm slowly getting more and more stuff added to that, and I do have my Indigenous work on there. I plan on obviously making more, and I also am trying to like attend a lot of markets and conventions and stuff that, I mean, are obviously all canceled at this moment, but I
Yeah.
have been booking like a lot of as many things as I could. As soon as I was done with school, I was applying to everything, trying to keep myself busy because um I do work in the arts like right now completely, but I also part of that is I do some figure modeling for art classes, so I'll be the one standing there all super still for, you know, a couple hours, and people will draw me in the class, and so that's like another
Is
way I
this
can
at
bring
the
in some
UFT?
income. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
and that's like another way I can bring in some income. That's, I can book all my shifts, go in and model for a few hours, and it's just kind of, yeah, a way for me to like bring in more money because when you're working and you're like, selling paintings, for example, you're not going to sell the same amount every month. You're not going to have the same amount of graphic design jobs. You're not going to, it's not steady at all. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like my extra
Do you have a
part-time.
Patreon?
Pardon?
Do you have a Patreon or something like this?
Yeah, I'm just starting it up right now. I'm actually probably later today going to keep working on the little doodles for it, but yeah, I'm going to try it. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I plan on having I plan on having things like possibly doing like a print club. I'm not 100% sure, or like a sticker club maybe if people want to get stickers. There's I'm gonna have coloring pages. Now I'm like not even remembering what I have, but I'm trying to figure out because you have to make sure that you're not offering too much and it's like so much work. But I do want to offer everything that I can and kind of have a little interactive community. And I'd love to be able to do it where people can get commissions from me on there, or uh, do the Twitch thing because I know you can have you
Yeah,
can
the
connect it to
Twitch
your
for you,
Discord.
it's
Yeah.
pretty useful because, like I said, I can actually send you the link from the other artist I'm gonna interview
Yeah, please
whenever
do.
she's back to Latvia, and
Yeah.
she works on her own art for her own channel. What is good because like you guys have that autonomy to create your own art and make it the channel much more interesting. The same thing with the Discord, and even YouTube. Maybe make the same videos you're gonna do on Twitch, share on YouTube, make your community there, and
Yeah.
then get more people to support your work. You be able to work from home and show your art. That it's something I see all the time happening, and I can. Everybody can see you're very talented, and I'm sure you're gonna get a lot
Thank
of
you.
support.
Ah,
and
that would be nice.
yeah, so that's a lot of. Do you have any specific plans for the future and dreams? Another level of of arts, other things you want to learn, or even teaching? You know.
um, Actually, I might be doing some workshops. There are some people who have approached me from various organizations to do some yes, basically some workshops. I was approached by somebody from the Museum of Vancouver who was interested in maybe me doing a painting workshop at some time in the future. So there's a couple, opportunities maybe there. Um, I mean, honestly, I would love to continue doing some schooling. I just went and got the 2-year diploma. And when I had first, applied to do that, I honestly thought, oh yeah, 2 years, that's going to be like more than enough. And I just love it. I feel so productive. I love, the new challenge of getting an assignment that you're like, I don't want to draw that, or how am I going to make that mine? And yeah, I miss that already. I'm like looking for projects that and like challenges online where you can submit the art and they tell you kind of like right now I'm working on this bird painting that I have right here, and that's for an Artie Bird card project, and it's a project that there's like there's 35 artists who are all painting a specific bird, and it's going to go into a deck of cards, an educational deck of cards. It's a collaborative project with the Met Chosen Foundation, the Rocky Point Observatory, and the Met Chosen Art Pod, and then artists. And yeah, and that gives me something I wouldn't normally paint a bird. Like that wouldn't be
And
the
it's
first
really
thing I'd
pretty.
paint. Thank you. But it's
I
nice
have
because it
followed
makes
it.
me work on something else. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
I
have
guess I have
followed the
posted it. Yeah,
evolution.
yeah. So
Yes.
I'm hoping to finish it up in the next couple of days because there is a due date still for that. It hasn't been postponed, thank goodness. So I'm just applying to all these things that kind of keep you on your toes.
Yeah, this is really nice. Like I said, I'm in this isolation forever, so I don't really feel any different more than I was preparing to come out and start going for my matching process and more like outside with my daughter going to daycare. It started just in January, so I was like, oh, now I'm gonna come out, and then Corona came and just
Jokes.
postponed my coming out. So
Yeah.
I'm not really living in any different. I'm actually more busy because people are much border now, and
I mean, that's good for you.
I managed to make interviews every day this week, so I can't complain.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
just show here to people. I don't know. I don't really. I'm not a super technical on the computer, so I don't know. But this is one of my
Aw,
favorite, you know,
that's my favorite
and
too. Thank
yeah,
you.
and I really like the ones that also don't have much, but this is just so beautiful and simple and beautiful. And it's like I just love it. People go check Chantel Fretchen Studios. Chantel, please let us know how can people follow and buy things, your arts, or even order you something. Maybe give you one of those tasks. Ask you to do something that you're not used to, give you a challenge.
Yeah, for sure. I have on all my social media, I have all of my you can DM me on Instagram. I have my email on my website. I have a contact form on my website. Um, I'm open to, as soon as I get an email, I'll reply pretty much right away. I'm always trying to get in new jobs, and I love doing fun illustrations for people. So, yeah, I mean, I'm open to quite a few things. So,
Okay,
there's
good.
I'm on all
I'm
types of
gonna
social
I'm
media.
gonna I'm gonna attach all the links below in the description so everybody can
Thank you.
contact even you, Frechan Studios, Chantel, no problem, and get you to make some art. I'm actually thinking about maybe we can work together and see if you can upgrade
Heck
my
yeah.
art. So
Yeah,
yeah,
let's do it.
thank you very much for coming. It was such a pleasure. I hope all this can go back. We can go back to normal soon, and then we can meet
Same.
each other live in person.
Yeah,
For
exactly. Oh, you'll have to come to one of my events that hopefully will get a new date. I have like all my event lists up right now and it all says postpone, 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 postpone. So I
Yeah, I
hopefully
know
I have
that.
some
I
cool
have the
things
same.
coming up.
I had a few. I
Yeah.
had a few exams and stuff that I had booked, and that were all like just messages like we're giving you the money back. It's like not even an option, like the
Oh, shoot.
kids
Yeah.
swimming classes, like oh, we're just refunding you. And so it's like I totally understand, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for the coming back to normal life. So
Me
I will
too.
definitely come to one to your events to give you a
I
hug
look
and make
forward
one of
to
your
it.
art. Definitely will. Thank you very much. People,
Thank you.
go check Chantel. Her beautiful arts,
Thank you.
amazing inspiration, nature and stuff. And thank you very much for coming. Till next video and see you.
Bye.
Bye.